Hello everybody and welcome back to the Lakeland Vale Let's Play series with me, CWATTYESO, here from Simulator 19. We're making a start today on the last day of spring. This is day 8 of spring. The chickens need some food, so I'm going to quickly go and do that. I'm also announcing right off the start of the video, I have updated my map to the latest version 10 map of Lakeland Vale by Stevie. Stevie released a new update for the map over the weekend to include some new fill types and fix some other little bits and pieces. So we now have potato washed and potato steamed as additional fruit types, fill types. Just need to check one thing though, and I'm gonna have to check on this. About $300. The prices, gotta check the prices, see if they've been put in properly. Washed potatoes are only a little bit more than normal potatoes, but steamed potatoes, look at the price of those. Much better. Much better. A bit like if you use the existing global company mod that does premium potatoes, although premium potatoes don't seem to be as cost profitable as steamed potatoes. Now the reason for that is because Stevie's added to his global company mod pack thing. Stevie's added 2 new mods. He's added the steamer and he's added the potato washer, all of which are a little bit easier to fill, I must admit, from what I tested on another save off of camera. Much easier to fill than the official global company one. And certainly the potato steamer is much easier to use than the potato sorter. Definitely. So can't wait to be using those in the series. But anyway, we have got work to do today. Work to do work. And as it's the last day of spring before the summer, it's the last one of the, we're going to do some contract work today. I've got some contracts queued up. I've got 3 of them, all of which are paying quite nicely. They are fertilising contracts, but in keeping with what I did in the last episode, I've leased a piece of machinery, and what I'm going to test today, in my lovely infinite wisdoms, I'm going to test whether or not it is possible to complete 3 contracts using the same piece of leased equipment. We will see. You used to be able to do contracts with the contracts of the same type. That's not very good, is it, Delores? You've tipped that all over the floor. That's part of the problem, Delores. You make the mess. Their productivity has dropped to 20%. Why is that? Yeah, why is productivity alarmingly low for the chickens? I'm a bit concerned now. Why has my chicken productivity gone down so badly? They've got food, they've got water. We've got some baby chickens. I've noticed we've gained a couple of baby chickens of the Cornish cross and the white leghorn variety. Although oddly, it does seem that the white leghorns only want to make male chickens, which are no good because that's no more egg laying in the future from them. And the Cornish crosses, the little brown birds that can be used for meat or eggs. They're making not bad chickens. Cleanliness is 100. Water is 319. Food is there, but they're not making anything. Not producing any eggs. Egg production is like rock bottom. Huh. Well, I'm gonna don't know what to suggest to that. Anyway, let's just leave this area. Take the truck. And we're going to head up to the store where my leased equipment will be awaiting me. And then I can get on and do these lovely, lovely contracts. Also, on a recent video, someone commented that I should maybe look at adding and installing the Follow Me mod. I've had the Follow Me mod installed since I started this series. I just haven't had a reason to use it yet in the Let's Play, because obviously at the moment I'm trying not to use workers. I'm trying to have Delores do everything by herself and be, you know, self-sufficient and not result to hiring workers and stuff right from the beginning of the series. Because again, one of the comments that I've had left on previous videos in other series and comments that I've had said to me in multiplayer is that, you know, sometimes I've used too much courseplay and things like that, and people want to see me doing more of the work. So here we are. I'm doing more of the work. Right, I need some liquid fertilizer then. So this is coming off the profit straight away. 1,200. There goes my money. Of course, no GPS on this because it's leased. I was going to say, was that filling up? So you can probably you've probably guessed by now that I'm going to be doing some fertilising contracts today. Let's have a quick look then. We have got field 19 for 52,000. We've got field 10 for 16,000 and field 11 for 19,000. There was a couple of others as well that were here. Field 16, field 7, field 13, field 12. They could possibly get done. I might throw them in as well as field 10 and in fact, actually, yes, because they're only little. And we can throw them in. There was also a sewing job somewhere on here for 95,000 bucks. However, you would be required to sow potatoes. So Delores was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. Of course, filling up this thing with fertilizer takes a lot of time. So yes, I have not been using workers in this series so far, apart from one I briefly hired yesterday whilst I was doing a seeding contract, just so I could go and make a bathroom break in real life. However, that worker cost me 94 bucks to do 2 rows of a field. Another thing that I've had mentioned to me a couple of times in the last few days is a mod called AI Vehicle Extension, which apparently is a mod for more intelligent helpers or smarter helpers. And someone says maybe I should use that. I've downloaded that and installed that today, but again, I don't know when I'm going to use it, because I say I'm trying not to use workers. The one thing about Delores Floffily Boffin is that she was pretty self-sufficient. If you watched my old family farm series, you'll know that she did all the work in that series. You know, we didn't really use workers ever. Everything was done by me, and that's kind of like what I want to continue doing. Right, so what fields did I have? I had field 11, which is this big one next to me. I'm scared that field 12... No, field 12's got to be little. For $2,000, field 12 has got to be little. It ain't that big field over there. Now, obviously, the important thing when doing contracts this way is not to collect the contract money until after you've finished all the jobs, because ideally you want to keep the machine for doing all the jobs. And that's what I want to see. I want to see if I can use this machine, because this is probably the best sprayer in the vanilla game. This is the best sprayer you can get in the vanilla game. So being able to do all the fertilising contracts with one of these would be very, very nice. There was a job that offered me the chance to borrow the Stara sprayer, which is a little bit smaller than this one, quite a lot slower as well. So I was like, didn't really fancy using the Stara to do every fertilising contract, but we shall see. Tell you what, kids, it's not very easy to see where you've... Well, it's a bit easier to see where you've been on the potato field. But... Hey... Look, it's when this field has got... Look, you can see the curves and the undulations quite nicely in the field. When they're planted with potatoes, you can see all the little humps and hills and bumps. So yeah, these fields definitely aren't flat, and they definitely do give you some problems when you're doing some jobs on them if you don't have the right equipment, which we definitely didn't have for that sowing contract we did yesterday or the day before with that Deutschfahr tractor and Great Plains seeder. They weren't man enough. They weren't man enough for the field that we were having to sow. Whoever leased us that made a fool of us, basically. Let's see if this poor little lady will be able to seed a field with such an inferior powered tractor. Would have at least given me a quad track for that field. So that's probably what it needed. Now, quickly going back to the map update for a second. Yeah, Stevie's done the map update to version 10, which apparently makes it compatible with the straw add-on DLC stuff that came out. He's added extra tip types and height types and stuff to accommodate all the extra stuff you can now tip onto the ground, because obviously the straw harvest add-on adds things like pellets and other bits and pieces, which is what was causing problems initially. So he's done that. He's also obviously added his steamed potatoes and washed potatoes. However, that mod will only work on this map. Will not work on any other map. If you try to put Stevie's potato sorter, potato washer onto any other map, it will not work because your map will not have the fill types. Stevie's not used a script to retroactively add fill types to maps to other maps. He's built the washed potatoes and steamed potatoes into Lakeland Vale Map only. Now, obviously, the other global company mod, it did things a little bit differently. It added the washed potatoes and premium potatoes via script, so you could use it on any other map. The mod has a little script in it that the mod author wrote that basically just checks when the map is loaded up whether those fill types exist, and if they don't, it adds them. And then there's also another little script where it adds the premium potatoes to any of the sell points that sell or buy regular in-game potatoes, and it does it cleverly enough with a formula so that obviously the price is almost double what the regular potatoes are, which is a very cool way of doing it, because then it makes it certain that the mod will work on. You can use that mod, the global company mod, on every map, whether it has the fill types or not, because the mod itself takes care of it. Stevie has elected not to do that, and I saw a post on his Facebook page this morning saying he didn't have permission to use the script, but I think just write your own. just write your own script, you know. All these mods for farming sim use a similar template. The XML files, everything like that, the mod description, XML, they all use a template that basically people just fine tune and adjust for their own needs. I would do that with the script that adds the fill types, because it saves messing around. Because I've added the potato washer and Stevie's potato washer and sorter mods to my multiplayer server on Ballydawn, but before I could upload them, I had to go into Stevie's mods and change the fill type, the input and the outputs, to match the same fill type as was being generated by the other potato mod thing, the global company one, the proper one. So unfortunately for players on the server, they've got to download both the global company potato washer and sorter, and then they've got to download Stevie's potato washer. That's 4 mods to do one thing in game. And it could have been resolved quite nicely had Stevie used a script. Right, we've got to do 12 and 13 next, which are the 2 little fields directly in front of us. That's not a problem. 12 and these will be done in seconds. These pretty much drive down once, drive back up again. And something else I've been thinking, again, I'm bouncing around all over the place today with my thoughts in my brain, because, you know, my limited brain capacity that I have can only handle so many things at once. I'm thinking in this series, because of the way the growth system works, and because of the geo and the weather, and the fact that we're going to have long gaps between harvesting, when we seed, we're going to have long gaps between harvesting. What I'm thinking of doing, and I don't think I did this in Fenton Forest. think I've only done it a couple of times in previous series before that, and I've done it a couple of times on the latest server map though. I have. Effectively, what I'm going to do is once I've harvested a field, wrong button, get out of that. Right, yeah, let's have a look. So like when we do the harvesting, there's obviously a period over in the 7 to 9 of summer, 1 to 3 of autumn, 4 to 6 of autumn, where you can reseed, but I don't think you'll get a harvest. I do not think you'll get any kind, you won't be able to harvest again. So yes, you can plant in, you know, late summer, early autumn, mid autumn, but I don't think you'll get a second harvest. I can't see you getting a second harvest of this field on this map. I don't think that's possible. So what I'm thinking of doing once we actually harvest is going, after we've harvested, planting oilseed radish on the field, letting that grow, and then cultivating that in to give me my like first fertilizing stage, first bit of fertilizer, you know, and then using that, and then hopefully that'll take me up towards like the time of year, then getting into like hopefully late autumn, early winter, where I can be thinking of maybe putting in my actual crops, you know, because hopefully if this map is correct and this is the Texas Geo, which it's supposed to be, I'm not expecting a lot of frost and a lot of snow in the winter. I'm expecting we should be able to keep working pretty much through the winter, doing groundwork, doing field work, stuff like that, because we're not going to have the issues that we've had on the previous maps. Or at least I'm hoping that's the case. I'd be very surprised if I woke up one Texas morning and found snow everywhere. On the map, I'll be like, no, game. I know there's been rare occurrences in real life where there has been snow in Texas, but I remember famously one year it did snow in Texas, and it snowed quite badly. That I remember, I think it was the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, or it was the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, that the roof collapsed because of all the weight of the snow on the roof. The roof like collapsed into like the center of the field, the pitch, the gridiron. I remember seeing that on YouTube, a video of that happening, because obviously they had like security cameras in the stadium that were recording all the time, and they actually captured the moment the ceiling fell in, basically. But yeah, I'm kind of fingers crossed, hoping that I don't get a load of stuff like that occurring. Another contract, 2 more contracts done. So 12 and 13 are done, which then leaves 10 and 19. 19 is, oh, 19 is that big one. Yeah. Okay. And 10 is the one right next to us here. Right, okay. We'll go and do that one then. Check on the full fuel situation. Just under half a tank. I will put the time scale up a bit, because I noticed I'm still on 1 times from doing the intro. And we want to get into summer, day 1 of summer, hopefully. Tomorrow. One thing as well, by doing these contracts, I'm getting to see a lot of these fields for the first time. I'm getting to do, obviously, work on these fields for the first time. And it's allowing me, in my little, again, limited brain, to take some mental notes of what I would need to do with fields and change with fields once I've bought them, to make them just a little bit more fun. For example, this field doesn't look too bad at the bottom. It's a bit tight on this edge to these trees and this like little road. So I may end up removing like the edges of the field a little bit just to create a little bit of space. Turning equipment around. So as we go back up to field 19 in a few moments, I will nip to the store, fill up with the last couple of pallets of fertiliser that I've got. And then I must remember as well in my limited brain that once we've finished the contract, don't return the equipment straight away. Don't accept the complete the contract straight away. Go back to the farm, make sure this thing is completely empty of the fertiliser that I've paid for, that I've paid for out of my own pocket, and then return it to the store, complete the contracts, collect our money, which will be quite nicely, I would say, quite nice for the day. It'll be about probably 80 grand, is it? 90 grand, something like that. $50 grand, 70 grand, 86 grand, 89 grand, about 92 grand, just over 90 grand. Be over 90 grand for the contracts that we've done today, which will put Delores' money back up nicely to just over 100,000. Because again, we've burnt through the cash in the last few videos. Burnt through the cash, which is why I need them chickens to not have production issues. They need to be pushing those eggs out of their little bum holes as fast as they can, so I can sell some of those. Same with the sheep, they better keep cutting their hair and leaving me lots of nice pallets of wool so that I can get that done. And get up close and personal with the Rubicon. Also take a screen. It's not a very easy machine to photograph this, I will be perfectly honest about that. The Rubicon is not very photogenic, and it also doesn't help with the fact that when you do try taking in-game screenshots with the in-game camera, it doesn't really you don't really have a lot of options, do you? You don't really have a lot of choice. You can't really move it about a bit or change the angle. I've even tried with the NVIDIA Ansel tools to see if I can take better screenshots using Ansel, but again, you can't move the camera around in game. So One mod to possibly go back and look at and consider adding, just purely for doing screenshots, would be the player action cam mod thing. I just don't know if that messes up with the third person mod that I'm using. There's not going to be a lot of fertiliser left, is there? Actually, come to think of it, once we've done these contracts, not going to be a whole lot of fertiliser left. So apparently, it does appear that you can use the same leased equipment for jobs of the same time. So you can still take this job over and do another fertilising gig. But I'm guessing you've got to have the multiple missions mod in to enable that. You can't do it in the vanilla game anymore. They stopped you doing the contract stacking, Giants did. First patch, pretty much the first patch, that proper patch they released for the game, the February after it first came out, they pretty much closed off the ability to use the same equipment for all the jobs. Because what you could do before the patch, before Giants released their first game patch, if you had a job completed sat in your contract screen, you could accept and start another one. At that point, they would let you do that. Right, I'm going to quickly drive up to the store. Refill my Rubicon. Or the least Rubicon, as it is. And then that'll be it for today's episode, looking at the clock. So I haven't got all the jobs done today. I will get them finished off for the next episode. Somebody's knocked down a road sign. Was that me? Did I do that? I don't remember. I don't remember, member. But if it is, I'm very sorry. Hey, at least it wasn't a child. You know, I could understand people getting upset by, you know, knocking over a kid or something. Even though then you have to question whether that's really truly that bad. You know, how many kids are actually, you know, flipping rocket scientists and contributing greatly to the world? Not many of them. Hey, the people who get upset with streamers and YouTubers who knock down road signs on maps, you look at the comment sections and you know, man, it's like, it's just a road sign. Relax. Anyway, folks, we have reached the end of this episode of the Lakeland Vale Let's Play series. Woohoo! So please go ahead, click that like button for me. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments down below. And I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video, which will be very, very soon. And amazingly, we'll probably start with us still in this machine doing that first contract. I've only got one left to do, which is field 19. Anyway, I've been CWATTYESO. Goodbye for now.